All right, chat. I want to watch something interesting today. It's called The Rise of Homeless Streamers in China. I think this came out when 2 months ago. That sounds pretty cool. I saw this video. I think Asman watched it or something, and I was like, you know what? I kind of wanted to watch that. And I am live right now. We just did a bunch of reacts for the new live stream for Genshin and Wuthering Waves. Chat! I kind of want to start doing, what do you call it? Just chatting live streams, but I don't know how to do just chatting stuff. So we're going to try to figure that out as we go along. And, you know, here's, we're also streaming this right now as we react to this. Anyway, let's go.
Chinese city at night. You might come across, if you walk around in a Chinese city at night.
Actually, let me get this quick refresh so it doesn't die on me.
If you walk around in a Chinese city at night, you might come across something like this. Rows of people, mostly young and attractive, sitting or standing on the streets in front of rows of phones and...
Dude, that looks nuts. Where is this? Is it like under a bridge?
And attractive.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? I do look at some Chinese social media. I really, really like to have, what is it? Xiaohongshu, Red Note. I really like to use it because, as you guys know, I do like gacha games, and most of the better gacha games, or, you know, all the big gacha games, they do come from China. So people, obviously, in China play them. Especially if they're like MiHoYo games. They love... But, dude, MiHoYo is so huge. It's insane. So it's like, I will look at influencers like that. And I just kind of got stuck on it, you know? I mean, it's social media, right? Any kind of social media, you're just going to watch it, and then you're just going to get stuck looking at it. This girl looks... What is this? Like a bootleg DX rate. I don't know, dude. It's so... I don't know how people... I guess it's because of these microphones. It might be because of these dynamic microphones, because, like, these kind of have a really, really specific pickup range when it comes to sound. So it's like, I feel like you should be able to hear everyone like this. So this sounds like a terrible idea, but I guess not because of their microphones. But, dude, this looks... Dude, I would hate to be here.
Sitting or standing on the street.
Dude, how does no one get annoyed with being in each other's live stream or something?
In front of rows of phones and ring lights. Singing and talking and sometimes dancing. They look like streamers, but they also look homeless. Indeed, they do gather around places where homeless people tend to be. Right. On the sidewalks, inside tunnels, on bridges or under bridges. There was even a bridge that became so famous for this type of gathering that people started going there just to watch the spectacle. There was so much foot traffic under the bridge that at one point it started to look like a local festival or block party. You can see...
What the hell? Wait, what is that?
Bridge that at one point it started to look like a local...
Dude, look at this thing. This is kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's super sick. Dude, imagine live streaming here. I mean... I'm not gonna lie, kind of looking at this and live streaming. So I was just thinking about this too, that there were so many people live streaming at Anime Expo. I remember I had to point it out to my sister because she was like, well, what is that? Because my sister would like walk around with me and she didn't know. She did, like, saw people with like big ass backpacks and like cameras on their face. Like, oh, they're live streaming. Dude, it's such a huge difference. And then I think there were a few VTubers that are going around with like the mechs and stuff. I say the mechs, the cameras and the little thingies.
You can see people dressed up impeccably while dancing in the mud, or carrying a heavy jar of water while dancing in the mud, or downright rolling in the mud.
Rolling in the deep?
Basically doing whatever it takes to get attention from viewers online. Now, if you're seeing this for the first time, you probably have a few commonly asked questions. What are they doing? Where are they doing that? Are they streaming? Are they homeless?
Can I follow?
Where are they streaming outside?
Oh.
Why can't they stream from home? Why are they all together like that? Why can't they just stream by themselves? Why do they seem so desperate? What's pushing them to go this far?
Actually, in terms of like desperation for like streamers, this doesn't even seem like the most desperate, right? We've seen some desperate people streaming and it's really bad.
Why is this happening? Why are we here? What's the meaning of life? The universe? Okay, I got you.
Are you, what is it? Are you home right now? Do you ever get nervous? Those, whatever. Oh, God, I don't remember that song. Oh, God, so long. And I say, hell yeah.
In this video, I will talk about this phenomenon of homeless streaming in China. I'll talk about what it is and what caused it. And in so doing, paint a cautionary tale of what can happen when the attention economy goes too far. Now, like these streamers, I too am a content creator, so I feel a personal connection to their struggle.
Content creator.
You might not be a streamer or a content creator. and that's okay.
You mean a streamer right now at youtube.com/BlueDemonRin or Twitch.com/BlueDemonRin or Kick.com/BlueDemonRin, depending on what game I'm playing?
Because the lessons here are applicable across culture and geography. It can be useful regardless of your particular domains of human endeavor.
Domain expansion.
So join me.
I'm so sorry
as we dive in to the rise of these homeless streamers.
Right.
Now, first of all, yes, they are indeed streamers, but no, they're not homeless, or at least not usually. So why are they out there on the street in the middle of the night? Well, they come out at night because nighttime just happens to be a peak time for streaming traffic in China.
Does it?
Most people would have finished work at that point and are
well,
now...
I guess just because it's nighttime, I guess in my head, the immediate thing that I thought of was it's like 5 in the morning, 3 in the morning, or like 2 in the morning. I don't know why I didn't think, it's probably like 8 at night or some reasonable time. I'm like, wow, they're out there in the middle of the night. I guess it's because the streets look empty. And I'm like, China's huge. I assume that the streets are always going to be bustling. But I guess, I don't know. I was just like, that's probably like 2 in the morning. But that would probably be dangerous to be out there that late, right? I guess maybe not. We'll see.
Online seeking entertainment. So nighttime naturally has the most stream viewers, and streamers in turn get online at night to capitalize on that. Many streamers also have day jobs and would only have time to stream at night. In terms of why they do it on the street, though, it's mostly because it makes for engaging content. You're probably seeing TikTok dancers do this, filming their content in public, sometimes to the annoyance of other people. TikTokers can and do.
Is that the bottom G?
Filming their content in public, sometimes to the annoyance.
It is. It's the bottom G.
Of other people.
Dude,
TikTokers
I love the
can
bottom.
And do.
Chat, that is probably the best thing to happen to Andrew Tate's reputation is the bottom G. Love that man. He's such a good dancer.
Film their content in private spaces, but there's something interesting
about
the real
that was
world
really
chaos.
Cool.
The cars and the cityscape and the social
really cool,
pressure
actually.
of other people watching that can make the content more engaging to watch. And these Chinese streamers stream in public to capture some of that same engagement on their stream.
I wonder where they like live stream, if it's on like, I guess you'll probably tell me, right?
Additionally,
my guess is like
for some
Billy
streamers,
or
this is also an attempt to appeal to pity. The idea is that if viewers see them sitting out in the cold at 1 in the morning, they might feel empathy.
Oh, it is at 1 in the morning.
The streamers,
okay. I guess
and as a result, become
right.
nicer to them and donate to their stream more often. Now, I acknowledge that this looks kind of insane. In fact, when I first started researching this topic, I had to do a sanity check and contact a few people in China to make sure that they've actually seen this with their own eyes, and this is not just AI-generated footage. And unfortunately, it is real. In fact, you can watch the stream from these streamers right now. You need to use a Chinese streaming platform. And here's me trying to do this a few weeks ago. I just searched for street streaming and
is this on that's the TikTok Douyin?
One after just a couple of scrolls. What was shocking to me was that I was watching this at 1:40 in the afternoon Pacific time, which would have been about 4, almost 5 o'clock in the morning in China.
Damn.
So this poor girl was on the street at basically 5 in the morning.
At least it's like super dead, right, chat? Do you see that? Like it is a super dead time. I don't know why I couldn't why couldn't I have said that more eloquently? It just seems like I don't know. I just hope that people are safe out there. That is the most important thing. Is I just want people to be safe because I don't know. I wouldn't trust people out that late. But some people live in different areas. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to say, shit. Just be careful out there. That's all I'm saying.
Was
Don't
kind
be
of
in the bad
raining
neighborhoods.
And streaming for the 46 people who are watching the stream. So the question is,
46?
Why are they going for the 46 people?
That's more than me.
Who are watching the stream?
Hey, I'll say this. At the very least, it's more than me.
So the question is, why are they going this far? Sure, streaming outside might make for slightly better content, but compared to the comfort of streaming from home, what's pushing these streamers to go out in the cold in the middle of the night? Now, first of all, there is a macroeconomic reason for this.
Right.
After the COVID lockdown, China's economy has not rebounded as strongly as one would have hoped. The rate of unemployment is still relatively high, and even those with jobs might not necessarily be able to afford the cost of living in major cities. Streaming, on the other hand, has a low barrier to entry. Basically, anyone with a phone and an internet connection can do it. So naturally, streaming becomes something many Chinese people do to supplement their income. According to CCTV, there were more than 15 million professional streamers in China by the end of 2023.
15
That means roughly
million?
1 in every 100 people in China were streamers. In other words, the streaming industry has become incredibly competitive. It's
Right.
therefore a necessity for streamers to go the extra mile to stand out.
Here's also the thing, right? I wonder if there's that many people that still, or how do I say this? There's that many people that watch, right? Because with Twitch, yeah, there's a lot of streamers, right? But I feel like there's also a lot of stream watchers. So even though it is an oversaturated market, someone's gonna either like give up or blah blah blah, and they're probably still gonna keep watching their streams and stuff like that. So there's definitely viewers, right? Actually, even then, it's kind of, I feel like I'm wrong on that, because I know with YouTube, like videos, there's always gonna be someone watching. I don't know. It's weird. I just wonder how many people are genuinely like, I want to know who the most viewed streamer in like Douyin. Like, how many views does he get? That's like an interesting thing that I want to know.
In a sea
I
of
wanna know those
people making
statistics.
similar content,
Like, we just
if they want
saw,
to make money.
like, we were just
Making
looking at who was the most super chatted streamers on YouTube, like, earlier, and then now it's got me wondering as well for like Douyin.
the effort to come out to the street is just one such example. But there are other factors that exaggerates this sense of desperation in
Right.
streamers and push them to work harder. One of these factors is baked directly into the mechanics of Chinese streaming platforms, and it has to do with how Chinese streamers get paid. Now, many streaming platforms in the West, like Twitch and YouTube, have ad revenue sharing programs.
Yeah,
Once streamers are qualified and accepted into the program, even if their viewers don't pay them, the streamers can still get paid.
That reminds me, chat. Sub. Hit me with a free sub, chat. I need subscribers. I need 1,000 so I can get into that program. It's fine.
From ad revenue. Chinese streaming platforms,
This channel is growing a lot faster than I think it is. Anyways, I appreciate all of you. Sorry for
on
like
the other hand,
constantly
don't
stopping.
have ad revenue sharing,
Right.
or at least not yet at this time.
Uh-huh.
So streamers' income has to come from the pocket of the viewers. That usually happens in one of two ways. First is straight up viewer donation. Viewers can tip the streamers directly through these virtual gifts. This is one of the most
heart,
common
1
ways
cent.
for street streamers to monetize. The second way is live commerce, and this is basically infomercial but on streams. Streamers
Okay.
would talk about the product, and there will be a button at the bottom of the screen for viewers to buy. When that happens,
I've seen a lot of those on TikTok, and it's not for like regular regular stuff, right? It's more for, what's the word I'm looking for? Anime statues. I don't know why. It's always anime statues. That's like the one thing I always see.
streamer receives a commission from the sales. Now, regardless of how it happens, the fact remains that streamers don't get paid unless viewers take money out of their own pocket and give it to them in one way or another. This creates an incentive, if ever so subtly, for streamers to be a bit more desperate.
NPC
They
streaming.
seem more needy because
Ice
they
cream's
do
so
need
good.
something from their viewers. Because of
ice-
this, there were
ice cream's so
memes
good.
circulating on Chinese social media
Ground
that
Viper.
compares these street streamers to beggars. Here's one such meme. At the top here says old school beggars, and the bottom
New
says
society
new age
beggars.
beggars. Now I can see
I
some.
feel like it's not so much, right? Or maybe when it comes to like Douyin and then like TikTok, it kind of does, right? But I don't know. Do I want to feel that way for YouTubers? Maybe, actually, because if you're relying just on ad revenue, it probably won't get you much compared to, like, I don't know, a Ko-Fi or some other off-platform tipping service, right? Or at least that's what I think. I don't know. I've seen them super chats, so
resemblance, but to be fair, streamers do provide some form of entertainment.
right.
They do sing and dance and so on, so a better comparison might be to street performers rather than beggars. There's another thing that
That's what I
sets
thought as
streamers
well.
apart from beggars, and that's the fact that many street streamers are often parts of a business or company that specializes in social media content creation. These
So they're part
companies
of like an
are
org.
officially known as MCN, or multi-channel network,
Yeah.
in the industry. They're basically streaming agencies or influencer agencies.
Okay.
They provide streamers with training, equipment, help them broker sponsor relationship, and with other logistical tasks in exchange for a cut of the streamer's revenue. Now, you might wonder why any influencer would want to give up a portion of their revenue to join an agency. You've got a smartphone and a data plan, so just point the camera at yourself and hit record, right? How hard could it be? Well, there are actually a lot of things content creators need to do that has little to do with creating the content.
I feel like, okay, so, and I know people are very much against Corpo, but even with Corpo on VTubers, dude, Corpo is such an advantage depending on what Corpo you're in, right? When it comes to something like HoloLive, like, bro, imagine it's not so much that you're joining for, or you're joining because it's HoloLive, right? And then when you join, you don't just get, you get like access to the fans, right? Because a lot of streamers and streaming, like if the surefire way to really get in or out there for streamers is to have someone co-sign you. Like co-signing is really huge in streaming, right? Especially for like VTubers, if you're like friends with someone big, like if you have what it takes, they will catapult your what do you call it, your career. And I feel like people are really downplaying how much that happens with HoloLive or like any other agency. Like, dude, get into HoloLive, you get like an instant 100K maybe minimum subs on YouTube. That's like an instant plaque. It's kind of nuts. I mean, it might not be for like Niji Sanji or something, but bro, like I don't even remember what the lowest count was for the Holo EN girls when they first started. It was like 100K or something. It was really nuts. And it's like, dude, I would join just to be shown in front of the people and just be like, hey, this is me. And they're like, all right, goodbye. It seems worth it, Chad, at the end. Like, go, honestly, it seems kind of worth, in my opinion.
For instance, I just spent a week filing my taxes. Even though my channel was monetized for less than 2 months last year and made about $200, I still had to include that business activities on my tax filing. Because there's apparently a difference between cash-based accounting and accrual-based accounting. And if you don't know what any of that means, I didn't either. So that's how I spent a week.
Oh, no. I don't want to know about that.
Now, no offense to the accountants out there. This is fascinating stuff. But as a content creator, it's probably more efficient and relevant for me to spend a week researching for this video topic instead of learning how to depreciate a capital asset at fair market value.
Oh, God,
the
I don't know what that
idea of
means.
a company taking care of these kind of things for me, it sounds like a great value proposition in theory. But in practice, joining an agency, especially in China, usually means giving up on some degree of creative and career freedom. And depending on how ethical the agency you're working with is, you could be giving up on a lot of freedom to the point that you are trapped contractually. As part of
Shout out to Niji Sanji.
joining an agency in China, streamers might face restrictions on what kind of content they can stream, where and when they have to stream, and quotas like how much revenue they must generate per week. And keep in mind that Chinese streamers don't make revenue until viewers give it to them. Failing to meet these quotas could result in fines. And if streamers try to leave the agency before their contract's completion, they could get sued.
Wow.
So it's easy to see how these restrictions can intensify desperation and push streamers to hustle ever more frantically to avoid breaching contract terms. For example, you might have seen clips like this circulating on the internet. People have called them influencer factories, and these would have been operated by influencer agencies. Not all of them look this bad, though. There are some with better conditions, like this one based in Indonesia. But
oh, that's what that's supposed to be. Okay. Man, they just have their
factory.
Dude, they didn't even like, this doesn't even look like something they rented. They just found an abandoned an abandoned building and just put people in there and then just like set up some tables and then just flip them. Why are these tables flipped? Why are they not sitting at the tables?
And these would have been operated by...
Why are they sitting like this? Can this camera see this person behind them? This looks awful. I'm not gonna lie.
Influencer agencies.
Like a terrible
Not all
thing.
of them look this bad, though. There are some with better conditions, like this one based in Indonesia.
You see, that one looks better because at the very least, there's like a cut here, so you can actually not see the person behind you. And at the very least, it looks more presentable.
Business idea is the same. It's to streamline the content creation process from training to filming to distribution so the content can be mass manufactured like commodities in factories. And many of these street streaming gatherings are just the other side of the same coin. Now, some street streaming gatherings are formed organically from independent streamers, but we know that many are organized by agencies because there are hints in the footage that reveal this. For example, here the streamers are all using the same ring lights and nearly identical setups. You can also sometimes see tech support staff assisting the streamers. There's even a continuous red carpet that are laid out on the ground sometimes, indicating that the team had come and set this up beforehand for their streamers as part of an organized business operation.
I was wondering what that was. That's kind of weird.
Regardless of how these gatherings form, there is something...
Is that a bat?
Off-putting.
Sorry, I don't know what about the bat like threw me off.
They look almost dystopian, like something out of a Black Mirror episode. One of the reasons it looks so jarring is because it juxtaposes a series of polar opposites.
I don't know what that means.
That really shouldn't belong together. For instance, it juxtaposes the appearance of wealth and fame to poverty and obscurity. These streamers are all dressed in glamorous clothing, with beautiful makeups, in front of spotlights and cameras, as if they are celebrities. Yet in reality, they are out on the street, like homeless beggars. It also juxtaposes human connections and loneliness. On one side, viewers from all around the country are connecting intimately with their favorite streamers, a modern miracle facilitated by the internet.
Man, who would spend all their time watching streamers and get attached like that? Not me, chat. I totally don't, you know?
On the other side, everyone is alone. Most viewers are probably in a room by themselves staring at a screen.
I didn't like that. I didn't like that he called me out like that, dude. I didn't like that at all.
The streamers sit just inches apart from each other, yet never interact. Everyone is locked in the prison of their digital worlds, appearing to connect, yet never really do. It juxtaposes collectivism and individualism as well. China has a collectivist culture, after all. So by and large, people prioritize social cohesion and group well-being above their personal ambition. These street gatherings seem to trend towards this kind of collectivism. Everyone is sitting in front of the same equipment while doing the same things. It looks like they are one unit, working towards the common goal. But the reality is quite the opposite. It's hyper-individualistic. The streamers aren't working towards any sort of collective well-being. Rather, each streamer is out for themselves, climbing over each other to take a slice from a pie that is only so large.
I was going to say shout out to Cinder, but at this point, we all know, like I said, dude, we all know streaming is just like that in general. We don't want to, I mean, even if I was to just like point out one person, that person is not going to, like, by next week, there's going to be another person. Like, you know what I'm saying, chat? Streaming is just so cutthroat. And a lot of people don't believe in the power of friendship. You know what I'm saying? As much as they want to believe and make you believe that they do, they don't. So it's like, you know what I mean, chat?
There are only so many viewers on the platform that night, each of them with only so much budget for tips. For one streamer to gain a viewer's attention and tip is for another to lose it. And this individualistic zero-sum competition leads to the last juxtaposition, the appearance of individuality and its complete erasure. The point of streaming is supposed to be genuine connection. It's a platform for streamers to show their authentic personality and uniqueness for their fans.
Decently authentic, right? I mean, I'm more turned up. I'm turned up a little bit more than
to connect with. And each streamer here appears to try to do that. They're all dressed up, enthusiastic, and entertaining. But in reality, they've lost...
So glad there's VTubing chat. I don't even have a shirt on right now.
...their individuality in their very attempt to show it. The reality is that they're all doing the same things in front of the same gears. This process of mass production of content has turned content creation into a commodity. And each streamer is but one of many identical cogs in the content creation machine that churns out the same sort of MP4 files onto the influencer factory conveyor belt. Now, what's happened to the Chinese content creation industry is something I'll call rat racification. That is not a real word, but I'm going to use it to refer to this process of transforming otherwise creative and productive pursuit into zero-sum hustle. Content creation was a cool thing initially. It was a venue for creatives to share their work, and people who resonated with them could start following them. It was sort of amateur and underground, and Asian parents had yet to agree that it was a real job. And then people started noticing how much money was in it and began to flood into the industry. There was enough financial reward there for some people to be willing to go to the extreme to win. Next thing you know,
Man, when people go to the extreme to try to become a streamer is never I mean, it'll work out, right? People obviously look at people who are being assholes. Like, as much as we want to talk about people like Johnny Somali or other people, they were getting people to watch and to donate and stuff like that, which you never want to go down that route, right? Not the public nuisance streamer. I hate public nuisance streamers, especially because they always want to do it to people who just want to be left alone and live their lives. Like, bro, you're just doing this. You're just an asshole. I hate when people do that. It's so obnoxious. I mean, I'm just saying those streamers have what's coming to them, and I don't feel bad for them at all. So it's just so obnoxious. I think I'm trying to think of if there has yet to be a true manufactured streamer, right? I don't think it is. I don't think there is. I feel like streaming just hasn't gotten there yet. I don't know if industry plant would be the word, but like a streamer where they're just given a script or something and their whole streaming thing has been laid out by a company. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think. I don't think so. The closest thing, even then, isn't produced by company. It's just produced by someone being really high quality. Is Kai. Kai is like super high quality. It's almost like a production. I mean, I feel like he does have his own production team because it's just like his streams are just so high quality. They're kind of insane.
The whole endeavor became a zero-sum rat race, something that isn't so different from the traditional
that's just talent
rat race,
more than anything.
like working at a bad office job with an exploitative employer. So you can sit in your street cubicle and do streaming work the same way you sit in your office cubicle and do paperwork. Just a different flavor of soul-sucking.
I will say, streaming is so much more fun than my actual job, but man, it's kind of nice to have that paycheck clear every Friday. I don't know when I'll get my next. I don't know when I'm going to get paid next when it comes to streaming. I know when I'm going to get paid next when it comes to my job. It's always Friday, baby. That Friday night.
But your soul is getting sucked either way.
Yeah.
This doesn't just happen in Chinese content creation, of course. In the West, for instance, you can find courses online that teach you how to churn out basically garbage content quickly or even in an automated fashion so that you can extract easy and fast income or even passive income on social media platforms. And this isn't limited to the content creation industry either. Rat racification can and has happened to many industries. But personally, as a content creator, it is a shame for me to see the rat racification of my industry in real time and its effect on people.
Could be worse. Could be AI. And man, AI content is coming, chat. That is coming, and it is coming fast because, dude, I'm getting like AI TikToks now, and those things look nuts. It's really bad. I mean, I'm sure AI has already taken over shorts and stuff on YouTube. I just don't get them as much. I mostly get like, for right now, I'm getting a lot of free-written clips. I don't know why. I'm not mad. I love free-written.
Started making content. I've made many YouTuber friends who have since quit making videos. Many of them
you guys have friends?
Come to content creation with one expectation.
Right.
And when that expectation wasn't met, they soon burnt out. Now, this is just a personal theory of mine, but I think the rat race is a choice to some degree. I believe that it's possible to not participate in the rat race, even if the industry one is in is rat racifying in real time. In other words, just because other people in my industry are rat racing out of control doesn't necessarily mean that I have to do it too. Now, I'm not giving career advice here, and I'm not saying what I'm doing is the only way.
Chad, you said to
But
listen
just
to
to
him.
use it as an example, I had a friend who asked me this once. He said, Lewis, look at these big YouTube channels like Mr. Beast, right? They
Mr.
have
B.
much bigger budget and teams of professional writers and editors. All you have is a camera and a keyboard, so how can you possibly compete? Now, this is just my take on it, but I don't think I am competing with Mr. Beast. Mr.
I don't
Beast
either.
makes great content, but the content he makes looks nothing like the content I make.
Right.
In fact, the only commonality between our content seems to be that we're both breathing while filming and maybe speaking in English. I'm looking for something more specific. I'm looking to create content that
Right.
falls in the intersection between what I love making, what I'm good at making, and what people
Even with, I know a lot of people do react content, especially like VTubers and stuff like that. Even then, I do feel like this does like fulfill something in my silly brain to sit down and talk. Like I like talking about stuff, right? And I think it's really something that I gotten into because I watch it myself, right? And then so that's why I made the second channel where I want to talk about more broad things, like instead of you guys watching me talk about games and things that I do, that man, that's a new hot character. Look at how big you know. And I do like doing that content, but I like the separation from this content from my main channel's content. And it's like I'm doing different stuff here. I really like it. Right? Plus, how many male VTubers are there really?
like watching. And this intersection will be
Kenji.
different for different creators, almost by definition. I learned this from listening to Naval Ravikant, although I think it might actually be a variation of the Japanese philosophy of Ikigai. So feel free to look into these sources further if you're interested in this idea. I adopted the idea for YouTube, but the original is much more general and can be applied to pretty much any industry. The idea is that you should pick an endeavor that falls in the intersection of what you love doing, what you are good at, and what people are willing to pay you for. Now, if someone is exclusive,
I hope. I mean, it would be nice if people would pay me to like get on here and yap, right? I was never much of a yapper either. Like when I first started streaming, I was playing League of Legends, and even then I wasn't talking that much. I really got more into talking now that I've been playing more gacha games because it's like I got to fill up that space with talking, and then it's like there's not things that are taking my attention, right? I can't be like, oh, I'm locked in because I'm trying to grind a gold or grind a diamond or something. I was just like, oh, I'm being a mint picker. I might as well talk to chat. Or I'm being a mint picker. Now I have time to talk to chat. I should say it like that. That's how it feels like. Like I could just get on here, talk a few hours for the games. Like we just watched the new Genshin and Wuthering Waves live stream. I could talk about that and go on about that and how the game is changing and how I feel about that. I could go on about that for a while. And I really like that. Right. And now I've been more accustomed to that because I've been doing that kind of content for like about a year, right, on my main account. So that's kind of why I took it to this, because it's like now I feel like I'm ready for this yapping and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm like doubling run times of videos, so I feel like I'm doing okay, but I guess that depends on how you feel about it. I always took that to heart of people saying that when you react to a video, to really put your insight in it, double the length. And I feel like I try to double the length of videos that I watch. I don't know if I succeed, but I definitely try.
Exclusively motivated by money, they will tend to ignore what they love doing. They'll push hard on what they are good at and what they'll get paid for. And that is one way that you could get yourself into a rat race. If you're just grinding it out and hustling, then you're not getting anything intrinsic out of the experience. And that's a problem, not because of some romantic notion of this you must do what you love cliche.
Right.
The reason is much more practical. Exclusive outcome orientation is a problem because it's a competitive disadvantage. If you're good at something but hate it, someone else who is also good at it but love it will outdo you. The trick is therefore to be ambitious enough to follow your passion, but never be so idealistic as to lose sight of what you're good at and what people will pay for. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. On average, it takes a lot of time and countless trial and error, and success isn't guaranteed. For example, I'm still iterating
Yeah.
to find my sweet spot in the intersection between these three circles regarding my own effort on YouTube. My channel hasn't made enough revenue to cover what I've spent since I quit my job, so I'm
Right.
still in the red so far. And it remains to be seen whether it'll work out before I run out of savings. I am ready, though, to take my resume back to the job market if it doesn't work out. And I'd probably keep making content on the side and try again once I have enough savings. Because I
makes sense.
remember what it was like to push myself to do only what people are paying me for when I worked as a corporate consultant for a few years. No, I'm not saying all jobs are bad, but that particular one just wasn't for me. It was a grind and created a lot of unnecessary human misery. So I think it's worth it to take some time to figure out a way to avoid that, even if it takes a long time. Especially when I know that it's possible to avoid the rat race, as I've seen people succeeding at it. And even in something as competitive as Chinese streaming industry, there are examples of people who have figured out ways to navigate it while maintaining their sanity and passion. I'm not talking about the sort of get-rich-quick stories that streaming agencies often use for recruitment. I'm talking about stories like this one, where a streamer figures out a path over time to create useful products and services and uses content as a way to find the people that can benefit from them. Now, this is not a report of someone who's becoming insanely rich, but maybe that's not the point of their journey. And their journey is still ongoing, so who knows where it will end up. And the point is that it looks like they're enjoying their journey so much that it's already fulfilling, regardless of its destination. Now, I want to acknowledge the possibility that some industries can be so toxic that the only way to compete is to rat race, and one might really have to switch industry to get out of it. I'm not saying that it's easy to find a sustainable and meaningful career.
I think the thing about like the industry of streaming and stuff like that really is that there is no real is there a get viewers quick scheme, right? Besides botting, right? Probably don't do that. But I didn't mean to do that. But when it comes to like streaming, you are just kind of doing it on your own. You can get help, right? But at the end of the day, it comes down to you. That's why I kind of like it. That's why I really like content creation and streaming. It's just like it's really what you can do and how you can really get yourself out there. It's like you're doing it for yourself until like you find people to help you, or people that are willing to do stuff for you, or get an agency or something like that. You are just kind of do it on your own. It is kind of nice. That's what I really like about it. The being me and trying to outdo what I think I'm capable of. That's my favorite part about streaming and content creation.
I'm not saying everyone will succeed at it for sure. I'm not trying to dole out baseless motivation here. As you may have noticed, a lot of the topics I cover are quite depressing.
Yeesh.
At some point, we all need to connect with reality. And reality can be unforgiving. These haunting footage of rows of street streamers is one manifestation of that stark fact. But it is precisely because the consequences of succumbing to the rat race are so dire that it is important to not give up on looking for sane and meaningful ways to navigate it. So I hope that the story of the homeless streamers did not make you jaded. I hope it instead serves you as a reminder to tread mindfully on your journey to find meaningful work, so that there might be a source of sanity, at least from your corner of the universe. The world seems to need that right now, so thank you for your efforts, and best of luck.
I don't really think, what does that say? How EID, oh geez. I don't really think it's really stopped me from wanting to do content creation or looking into stuff or like talking about topics and doing whatever kind of content that I feel like I really want to do. I want to watch this VTuber Heron video. I'm going to watch that. It's an hour long, but I'll watch that later. I really think that at the end of the day, this just makes me more, not motivated, but like, it makes me like the idea more of how individualistic, is that the right word, that streaming is, that you can do it on your own. It is better to have help and stuff like that, but still, if you want to do it on your own, you kind of can do it. It's just going to be harder. But chat, that's all we want to talk about. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you gamers in the next one. Bye.